Hello there, welcome back to Forecast Really discussion today. We have quite a complex scenario across much of really the Great Lakes region going to the Ohio River Valley. We have enhanced risk as well going from northeastern Illinois and southeastern Wisconsin going to southern Michigan, northern Indiana going to as well north, and going into northwestern Ohio. I think probably an upgrade or extension, of that enhanced risk might be needed in the next outlook. But we have basically a few tornadoes are possible, as well as some damaging winds, potentially widespread, with as well some significant gusts too. Large hail as well. So we have today's quite a complex scenario today. It's gonna be a bit. It's gonna be a bit of I guess one of those days, but we'll take one of those days. And since convection is really starting to initiate or ongoing, I'm probably not gonna look at models at this right now. It's a lot of convection ongoing across Minnesota and Iowa, as well going into Wisconsin right now. A few convective blowups as well, associated with really some large hail threat at this moment. The storms are pretty elevated north of the warm front, but it seems like we have a few MCVs located by radar. We'll take a look at those. We see MCV across Minnesota, just north of Minneapolis. We can take a look at the dual pole radar. You get that idea. We have a few MCVs. We have another one over as well into Iowa. Pretty sure we'll be also able to see it from this radar. Nope. But we see an MCV over north of Minneapolis. Could initiate some storms later across there, but don't really expect much. This is really just south of Mason City. I think that's going to be more substantial. This is basically right along the CDE gradient. We'll take a look at that. But and basically initiate some storms, convective blowups. Pretty much already. This could be our MCS already. Will become it, and I think it's gonna be. So most of these storms are pretty elevated right now, so wouldn't anticipate too much from these storms just right now. Apart from the large hail threat, but that's particularly it at this very moment. So take a look at satellite imagery. We see that trough out west. That is quite a substantial trough as well. Looking pretty good on water vapor imagery. A few short waves as well, perturbations within the flow. We see within those within Iowa, Minnesota, we see another perturbation into Kansas and Nebraska. That's gonna basically strengthen throughout the day. We'll be seeing 700 millibar flow will strengthen throughout the day. It's gonna slowly progress into the Great Lakes region throughout today. So take a look at surface maps right now. Currently, we see probably that warm front's located across central Iowa going into central Illinois. It's north. I can't really mark that down, but see those 70s dew points as well. 85 for 79. We're seeing 80s dew points just to the south of that warm front as well. We're seeing pretty strong southerly winds and see quite a strong theta E gradient across the region right now. And those storms are pretty much over. See 66 over 64, 66 over 66. Might be a bit inaccurate, but 69 over 60, 65 over 60, 66 over 55, 67 over 50, 60, 60 over 62. Decent instability, probably steep lapse rates aloft, frying from greater instability. So let's take a look at some soundings. We'll take one, see a few. We'll see what these are. Pretty saturated profile, aloft, pretty elevated in nature, North Waterfront, of course. Decent, most unstable instability though, 2,800 joules per kilogram. Probably supplemented with those steep lapse rates aloft. So, this is from Davenport, 4,000 joules per kilogram. And we'd say a time of inversion, time of a stable layer, it's above 700 millibars. Pretty elevated, but it's quite extreme instability in place. And once we get something, once that warm front tracks northward, it's gonna be huge. We're gonna be seeing quite a lot of instability across the region, probably several thousand joules per kilogram of mixed layer instability. And yeah, this is at 12Z, and we see mixed layer instability of 6,300 joules per kilogram, and most unstable instability of 6,000 joules per kilogram, and that was at 12Z. So that was quite substantial, to say the least, and it's huge. See quite a big K profile, and I could probably talk about that for a long time, but see surface low located over Nebraska at this time. We can probably see it without surface analysis. Yep, you can see a surface low over Nebraska, time in the upper 990s. Steep pressure gradient over the so I wouldn't be surprised actually if you see a decent little jet in place. Yep, 55. Yep, it's pretty strong. Southwesterly little jet of 55 knots speed max. So that's quite strong. We're getting some strong warm action. See the time of that pressure tongue. Okay, really with that warm front in the region, extending out into central Iowa and into Illinois. That's where really your warm front is right now. And we see quite steep pressure gradient over the region. Strong southerly winds. Take a look at current. Pretty sunny across much of Illinois, going to Indiana. So destabilization downstream really is more than likely ongoing. Here, we're not gonna really get much, but anyways. So take a look at mixed layer instability. We're already at 5,000 joules per kilogram. It's really at max. Mostly just south or along or just south of the warm front. We're seeing already instability around 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 joules per kilogram. So that's quite substantial for being 9 a.m. But it makes sense. Take a look at effective shear values. Pretty much north shear vectors out in the northwest to straight west, quite zonal, and shear magnitudes to go for the south, pretty much weaker, and as you go for the north, you get stronger shear magnitudes, and we're seeing around 30, 35, maybe 50, approaching 50 knots. Just out ahead of these storms out in eastern Iowa. Take a look at the CFD map, I guess, and we're seeing quite a version aloft. Don't know. I mean, those short waves in the MCVs are definitely going to probably gonna break tiny bit inversion that's in place right now. Mid analysis really outputting some pretty strong inversion over the region right now, but that should be breaking with surface heating and with surface heating in those MCVs being a lifting mechanism. So let's take a look at HOTRF map. Probably infer warm air action has been ongoing. See those veering with height. So yeah, right now, okay. So you know what? Yeah, we might just go over models. We might just see what's going on. So we can take a look at the wrap. Let's see what it's really showing at 250 millibars. Sorry, those speed maxes located. But pretty hard to pinpoint these. See that short wave slowly moving, progressing eastward. I think we'll be easily able to see it. We'll go to pivotal, so we can get the most recent wrap. I'll take a look at 500 millibars. Okay, so I think we're good now. So we're seeing quite a few speed maxes across much of Minnesota and Iowa, as well as Nebraska. So probably pretty important. See that speed max that's over Iowa right now. It's going to strengthen throughout the day. Probably gonna be our main initiator for storms. We're going to be probably seeing maybe an MCS out of this. Pretty strong one potentially as well, given really the conditions we've already seen downstream, which is quite substantial at this moment. So we'll go down to 700 millibars. That we see mostly prevalent. Really, we see interesting. How does the speed max is over at 700 millibars over St. Louis, but see a short wave, quite stronger one across going into Kansas and Nebraska. That's probably it's gonna strengthen. We see a pretty strong belt of flow across northern Illinois, around 50, 55 knots, maybe approaching 60, 65, and it's gonna weaken throughout the night. Be another MCS, but I don't know about that right now. But it's been interesting. Particularly 50 millibars, we can infer that the low jet expect to weaken throughout the day, or yeah, it's still pretty strong. We're still getting some strong ongoing, probably due to that steep pressure gradient, and that's gonna strengthen overnight. And further out east, we see that little jet strengthening as well to around 35, 40 knots, but that's over the plains going into the Midwest, approaching 80 knots. So I think we can. I think taking a look at the wrap. I think we can probably take a look at the NAM, the recent NAM run real quick, and then we can call this done. See if we're pretty sure there'll be probably differences in scenarios today. The NAM has that MCV feature way north for whatever reason. And pretty strong MCS form develops overnight into Nebraska and just quickly progresses southeastward. You see that? That's quite a strong MCS. MCV I'm in. The progression is really a bit weird. But so let's still see that short wave over Iowa and Northern Illinois. That's gonna, I guess it's the initiator really of those, that MCS and that 500 millibar. You can see that. See that lower front's probably gonna lift northward overnight. I mean, throughout today, and we see those extreme DDE values basically maxed out on the board right at 0Z, and it's pretty primed for really, if an MCS really rides along that boundary going into Indiana, Ohio. That's gonna be quite concerning, really, for potentially really strong MCS capable of producing widespread damaging winds. Now overnight, I guess that NAM. Pretty much differences really though. I don't take a look at 12Z anyways. I don't think the RAP really showing that either. Another MCS overnight. Some cams were showing that. But to say you really are by it, don't really think it makes sense at this moment. But anyways, let's take a look at the radar for one last moment, I guess, and I guess we can close out this video. So you've already seen some redevelopment. We've seen some redevelopment at this time, probably. Some pretty strong thunderstorms that are pretty much ongoing. Nothing really severe, but some pretty good rainfall actually, ongoing too. So mostly a large hail threat at this time, but it's gonna slowly transition over to a damaging wind threat once really convection really goes upscale, and we see that MCS develops, which could particularly be that from the MCV just south of the Mason City area right now. Give more of a pinpoint, it's actually probably near the Charles City area. So it has moved a bit eastward, and you can probably see that actually. So quite a complex scenario today. Didn't really go that in depth really with it today. So really keep an eye really, if you're in the risk area, keep an eye really on local forecasts. That's really the main conclusion at the end of the day. As a few tornadoes, of course, damaging winds, potentially widespread, with some significant gusts, with some large hail possible as well. But I think it's a bit, maybe we can think, when it comes to today, it's a bit odd, that really, I think it's a bit weird that hasn't been really initiating storms, been mostly underdoing it recently, and I guess that's why. But anyways, I'm supposed to be ending it now. But anyways, apart from that's really it. Goodbye.